I'm sure you all know about Five Nights at Freddy's at this point. You know, the hit indie horror game about surviving 7 nights at Freddy's? It released back in 2014 and absolutely took the internet and the horror genre by storm. Fast forward a decade later and the blacklight FNaF Funko Pop cereal exists. Great. If you're even a little familiar with FNaF though, you should know that Five Nights at Freddy's and fan games are absolutely intertwined. I'd argue that part of the reason FNaF is so popular is because of the fan games. Hell, there's literally an ongoing initiative to officially integrate certain fan games into the main series. That's just how impactful these were. Let's travel back to 2014 for a bit. Besides FNaF, what other internet horror trend was hitting the big time? Maybe not in the prime of its life, but these types of games were crawling all over the new page in GameJolt. If you know about my channel or, looked at the title, you probably know where I'm going with this. I'm talking about .exe games. I've already explained it a million times, but if you don't know, .exe games are a type of creepypasta horror game, typically about an iconic character with bloody eyeballs. This was started by the titular Sonic.exe, who, similar to Freddy Fazbear, was a pretty big player in the YouTube horror sphere back in 2014. And just as the stars aligned to create penicillin, some brave soul out there decided to combine FNaF, a series already famous for its fan games, with the infamous .exe genre, and by God, was the product beautiful. So, for some potentially unholy reason, ever since the release of FNaF, there have been multiple EXE games about the brown bear himself. His pals aren't immune either. I vividly remember a Bonnie EXE game from when Luigi Kid played it way back when. Not only that, what if I told you that an EXE game was also made for an official FNaF release? But more on that later. I thought it'd be fun and a very strange experience to talk about a handful of FNaF.exe games that exist out there. I'm not even gonna bother digging through Scratch or Roblox or whatever, because I'm sure a million exist there, so I'll just be covering a few that I found on GameJolt and the official one. Without further ado, let's jump into some bloody Fazbear goodness, starting with... Okay, it's not exactly Freddy himself, but Bonnie will have to do. Bonnie.exe was made by none other than... Oh god, it's him. It's Mr. EXE! So apparently this is a remake of an older game, but both were made by the same person. The reason I knew about this game was because Luigi Kid made a video on the original game a long ass time ago.
I'm playing as Freddy right now, as you can see here.
Now before we get into it, please don't go harass anyone who made the games I talk about today. These games were made years and years ago, and they are also FNaF.exe games. There is not a stupider thing to get mad over than Five Nights at Freddy's EXE games. Like, come on. With that out of the way though, this game's a little silly. The title screen is buzzing with life. You've got a play button. Click play and you're on your way to perfection. Oh, good going, dumbass. You broke the only thing on the menu that you could click. Flashing lights warning, because before you can even start the actual game, this boot up screen appears and then eventually decides to break down. I guess Bonnie.exe is just too technologically advanced for my computer. If only my computer could drink gamer subs, which you can use code TOBUP for 10% off of this delicious beverage mix. That would make my computer nice and strong for the fight against Bonnie.exe. This game and a future game that may or may not be the sequel have this gimmick of text boxes appearing on the screen. The issue is, whether it be my virtual machine's fault or the game's, the text boxes are glitched behind the window. I had to tab in and out super quick to even have a chance to click some of these. Now that's game design right there. Making the OK button the true final boss of your game is genius. After clicking the error message, you can actually get into the game. With a frickin' sweet Living Tombstone remix in the background, you play as the crying child from FNaF. Walking in a straight line to the right, you come across this withered Bonnie just kinda chilling there, and then you walk to the left. I legitimately don't know how else to describe this gameplay. It's a, let's all say it together now, walking simulator. There, I said the thing. Tab in and out to see the error box again, but this time it's a message asking if I'll leave. I'm sure trying to. Apparently the game's corrupted and you shouldn't be here in the first place. If only I was able to read this during the actual game, that would have been cool. Bonnie disappears, the Living Tombstone is still jamming in the background, and now you walk to the left. It appears as if Bonnie left a present for you though. Oh goody, I absolutely cannot wait to see what my bunny pal left for me. I wonder what the surprise is. Well, at least I can say I'm surprised. This gross ass Bonnie face shows up, which I'm sure is stolen fan art by the way. It might be from the artist Face Rot, but I saw that on a Know Your Meme comment section, so please take it with a grain of salt. Now, with yet another flashing lights warning, the child is transported to this, colorful wonderland. Walk to the right, weird-ass Bonnie jump scare, more flashing colors, loading screen into a weird-ass Bonnie jump scare, and we've survived. And that marks the end of Bonnie.EXE, but of course, not before a little end credits. I absolutely do not trust a game when it says no more jump scares. I don't care if you close the game, I know you could still do it. Bonnie.EXE is a perfect time capsule of the classic EXE game from back in the day. No gameplay, cheesy jump scares, flashing lights, it's the whole 9 yards. If I had something positive to say, I think that the ideas are definitely there for a good fan game. A FNaF fan game inspired by the FNaF 2 and 3 minigames is actually a really cool idea, and I'm not sure if it's been done yet. Tell me in the comments below if it exists because I really want to play that. I don't want to be too negative towards this game, so let's just keep it at it's bad. And that was the remake, don't even get me started on the original.
Oh no, what the fuck?
Everybody deserves a second chance though, although I guess that this remake would have been the second chance, but everybody deserves a second chance, and that's where the next game comes into play, titled Withered.exe. I'm gonna keep this part as brief as possible because this game is very similar to Bonnie.exe, and also I'm writing this part on a school night. Withered was a direct sequel to Bonnie.exe, expanding the deep lore that we all know and love. Where once was a scary image of Bonnie is now a scary image of Freddy. However, you actually get to enter a building this time. Freddy Fazbear's... That's it, no pizzeria. This is just his house, actually. Trying to enter, it proceeds to pull up those pesky impossible text boxes again. This time, the game decides to pull up all of my computer information for some reason. Also, yes, my main virtual machine's name is Squidward, but when the f did I name anything SpongeBob? I don't think I ever did that. As you may expect, this is a normal Freddy Fazbear's, but all of a sudden, the cheering kids disappear along with Bonnie. You can't leave and you can only walk in certain areas of the map, forcing you to go to the right. The game asks, "Do you fear me?" along with a flash of the color purple. Oh shit, purple, I'm afraid! The mysterious voice pushes more and more for you to be afraid. Also, now Freddy Fazbear is missing his head. After no head, you're transported into this weird platforming area. Being the platforming god that I am, I jumped into the pit and immediately died. Huh, guess I was wrong. There is a scary image of Bonnie here. The game appears to be looping itself after this, but this time when you walk to the right of the building, a scary withered Bonnie appears! As I work on this part of the video, I have a headache and I blame evil withered Bonnie for it. Not cool, man. Now, I don't know if there's multiple endings or not, but what I chose to do is go outside of the pizzeria and follow these blood marks. The game's all like, "Get out!" and I'm all like, "No!" Was that funny? Have I already fallen off? The game's all purple and glitchy now as you brave the pizzeria for the third and final time. It's revealed that Squidward is the honored one, and then you just get trapped in parts and services forever. The end, 3 out of 10, not enough #1 crate for my liking. I like this game just a little bit more than the last one. There's a little more substance here with an attempt at this meta story involving Bonnie. They lean away from the EXE stuff just a bit more, but not really. Still has the jump scares, the annoying glitch effects, the blood, it's all there. Overall, not the worst horror game I've ever played, but it's definitely down there. We're seeing a very slow increase in quality, but that's absolutely great. This won't be the last FNaF World game, don't you worry. So, a little backstory, I downloaded a re-upload of this game from a user called Deathstrongers, and I thought I knew what this game was. I remembered seeing YouTubers play it a while back. You played as this Freddy sprite from FNaF 2, scary things happen, it was all familiar to me. When I went to download and actually play it though, it was a completely different game. I tried multiple re-uploads of this game, and it was all this FNaF world looking one. I felt like the entire internet was trying to gaslight me. No, this wasn't the game you were seeing, it was this one. So unfortunately, we won't be discussing the game with Purple Freddy in it, just the one with Evil Freddy. This game takes a lot of cues from Sonic.exe. The menu fakes you out and makes you think it's the normal game. There's only 3 characters in the select screen. It uses the color red, all telltale signs. This is literally just Sonic.exe. I'll even play the game side by side to show you. The first character is Bonnie, and despite using FNaF world branding, you play as the FNaF 3 sprite. Walk to the right through the iconic Fazbear Hills, and it gets all bloody. Freddy.exe is waiting for you at the end of the level, and then kills you. Guess you were taken apart, maybe even shot and expired. Up next is Chica, same deal as Bonnie, you walk to the right and then you encounter the evil bear. This time, you gotta try and give Freddy the works though, but just like Knuckles tried in the original Sonic.exe, it doesn't exactly work. Also, I love how the creator used the Springtrap jump scare sound for Freddy. Why did they do that? In fact, why is Freddy killing them? What's the lore? FNaF theorists, comment down below your most batshit insane theories about this game. The best ones get replied to with a horse emoji, on the house of course. Last up is Foxy, and for some reason they throw him into this harsh winter storm. Imagine this, you're braving a snowstorm to get back to your car, barely being able to see anything, and then all of a sudden, you see this 8-foot tall robot fox hauling ass towards you. Anyways, Freddy appears, you die, and then it's game over. What? No I am God screen like Sonic.exe? Don't worry, I had my girlfriend whip this up to fill that void in this game. That was a game that I played. Once again, I can't even figure out who the actual creator of this is. It might be Teddybear87, but they might have only made this Freddy.exe, not this one. There's really nothing to say about this game. It's just Sonic.exe, but worse. 0 out of 10, play Sparking Zero this week instead. I'll be running some online matches as Majube, so come find me. While we're still on the topic of FNaF World, I think it's time we dive into the big one. If you know anything about FNaF and EXE games, you probably know about this one. The official FNaF EXE game titled Foxy.exe. Foxy.exe is a minigame from the slightly infamous FNaF World. FNaF World was this strange little game made between 4 and Sister Location that was definitely a different take on the series. Everything was bright and colorful, it was an RPG, and it was just not received well. At least at first, there's kind of like a cult following around it now, but people did not like this game when it came out. Anyways, within the game, there's an area themed around Halloween where you can obtain certain characters to use in your party. Specifically, you can obtain the Nightmare Rion by playing a minigame. And of course, this minigame was none other than Foxy.exe. It's very much a parody of EXE games, but it still counts, alright? Scott Cawthon made an EXE game that's real and canon and true. Excuse me, did you just say that EXE games are second-rate horror games? Have you even played SpongeBob.exe? Didn't think so, buddy. Sit down, stay in your lane. The game starts up with this fake desktop, and Withered Foxy's just sitting oh so patiently for you. Click it, and you're thrown right into it. You play as a strangely cheery Bonnie, and walk to the right past a picture of Foxy. The entire time the game goes on, Foxy repeats a certain voice line over and over. The first one is, "Listen to my voice, and you will find the key." The second level, well, it's not really a level, I don't know, the second walk that you take has him repeating the line, "When you can see, how fast can you flee?" I think this is referring to the Fred words that appear in front of you, because if you don't look away fast enough, jump scare city, population, you! Oh, also now Foxy looks a little scarier in the background. Hey buddy, how you doing? The last level you walk through, everything's all wavy and goofy. Foxy repeats the voice line, "Be sure your step through the heart of madness." You actually have enemies this time, as these little cats try to find you. Hide behind these shadow things and you'll be fine. Also, I'm pretty sure this cat comes from another one of Scott's games he made, but don't quote me on that. You finally make it past Foxy's 3 walks of evil, and the game comes to an end. Oh goody, I unlocked a new party member! I might have hyped this up a little bit more than I should have, but isn't it just insane that he made this in the first place? Well, actually, he's made some pretty questionable stuff recently, so maybe it's not that crazy. Unironically, this was probably the best game I've played so far. It's not good, even for a parody, it's not really that great, but it's a hell of a lot better than this. The non-existent gameplay fits this time since it's making fun of EXE games, and I do like some of the models that the game uses. It is just a silly little minigame to unlock something in a much bigger game though, so I can't be too harsh on it. Overall, it does its job of being a decent parody of Sonic.EXE, and also it makes me feel that Scott had a bit of a grudge against these games, that who knows why. I think this puts the final nail in the coffin for FNaF and EXE games to mix, because they just don't. FNaF fan games already do a fantastic job at implementing different types of horror. One of those types of horror, however, is not telling me that my computer's name is Squidward. FNaF games don't really lend themselves to the normal EXE format. There's a million jump scares in the game already, and God knows that the fans are trying to put blood and gore everywhere in FNaF nowadays. And most importantly, it's already a horror game. The whole point of EXE games is to make a scary version of a game. Can't really do that with a horror game now, can you? I'm not saying it's impossible. Like I said, an EXE game based around those old FNaF 2 and 3 minigames could be a neat idea, but I think FNaF fan game creators have already got it figured out. If you want to prove me wrong and make a FNaF EXE game though, go for it. I'm just a purple dude, don't let me tell you what to do. These games are an interesting time capsule into the state of indie horror back in the mid-2010s, but I just personally don't see the appeal in them. And that's it for this video. Wait, hold on. It appears that I forgot to talk about NightmareBonnie.exe by the Aqua Team. I don't know how different this one could be from the other ones, but you know what? Sure, let's give it a shot. I am not the same man I was 2 minutes ago.
Getting fit and funky, is that your desire? Get down and boogie till you catch fire. Dance and shake the soul and makes you feel alive. Shakes up your body, high five. You've got the will to get fit and trim. Now shake a leg and you will get slim. You know it, baby.